Hello YouTube and welcome to our latest devlog. It is Saturday the 14th of March 2015. We haven't updated since the 26th of January this year. That is largely due to the fact that we have been very busy getting on with things. Unity 5 was released a couple of weeks ago from the Game Developers Conference, GDC, over in San Francisco. I watched it with wide eyes, very excited for the release announcement, and since the release, essentially I have been spending all of my time looking at the new PBR workflows, figuring out how the new global illumination works within Unity, and basically experimenting. On the same day as Unity being released, Unity 5 being released, I also had some bad news for the team. Unfortunately, one of our members has now left the team. That was Burton, our 3D designer. He initially came on to do characters and then moved on to help with environments and props, etc. He has helped us immensely during his time with the project, and he's helped us understand. Well, he's helped me understand a lot to do with the art workflow, and also got me quite excited about it. Saying that, we've recently decided to change direction slightly in terms of the art. Basically, we only now have one artist on the team, and although Eric is fantastic at what he does, he just doesn't have enough time and resources to do the entire game as we need it to. So what we decided to do is we decided to go for a more kind of low fidelity, easier to achieve art style. Keep the game the same, keep the demo intention the same, keep the mechanics the same, everything else is the same, but in terms of texturing things, making things look pretty and look beautiful, we've decided to stylize it a little bit. So this is my oh, hang on, I've just opened the wrong project there, sorry. This is my initial Lord, open project. This is my initial kind of test for this. This is a very, very basic scene, just for one of the rooms. And as you can see, it looks a bit ugly on here, but if I drag in, I've decided to use a number of post effects. So if I drag this in, you can now see what it will look like in the actual game. Now this is just me playing around with things as it stands. I put some tone mapping on there, edge detection, couple of other things, a bit of bloom, etc., etc. Most of the stuff is the stuff that's built into Unity as it stands. The edge detection is pretty ugly as it stands. There's a lot of things we can do to it, but it is using the new PBR workflow. It's not using any textures right now, but we may implement normals on a lot of the textures and a lot of the faces. We have a lot of normal maps already made for this, so it may not take that much time to do that. But this is basically what we're doing. We're going to bring it right down, because otherwise we're not going to be able to get to a point where we can release a demo, let alone do the entire game. So the intention is at the moment is to get it to a point where we can release a demo, give you guys some kind of gameplay demos that you can give us some feedback on, and then we'll continue. We'll make a decision one way or the other. Do we stay with this art style, or do we move on to texturing things up again? You'll see the texturing in the other project in a minute. Right now, this is literally just one room, as you can see, and I've thrown some light probes in there. I've thrown a new reflection probe in there. So I've been learning a lot about the new PBR workflow and the new Unity kind of the fidelity side of things. There's also a number of bugs in the new Unity 5 global illumination and PBR stuff. Mainly the global illumination is a problem for me at the moment, because our scene is fairly big and there's a lot of objects in it. It's taking a long time for it to bake, even with low settings. So at the moment you can see I've just got the pre-computed real-time GI turned on. If I enable the baked GI, at the moment there's no baked lights in here, so it won't make a difference. But in my other scene, there is a lot of baked lights, a lot of area lights, lots of emissive textures, etc. Emissive maps, sorry. So they're taking a while to bake, and it gets to a point where it's taken 17-18 hours, and then it starts to use up all 32 gigs of the RAM on my computer. So there's obviously a bug there. I've submitted it to Unity. They're working on it. They're aware of it. I've actually been getting a fair amount of feedback from them for this particular bug. I think because it's Unity 5. I'm still on the Pro version as well. So yeah, it's it's getting there. It's just taking a while. I've been focused on this solely, the art side of things. Whereas I'm a programmer, the game designer kind of thing. I'm not really. I don't really know that much about the art side. I'm getting there, getting to a high level, but it is what it is. So I'm going to show you the new ambient occlusion. Not ambient occlusion. No, that's a lie. I'm going to show you the new PBR stuff in our existing Unity project. And I'll just quickly talk about it. Unfortunately, because there's been so many things going on, and because I've been spending so much time of my spare time looking at this looking at the new PBR workflow, I haven't had time to do much programming. So it's a bit of a catch-22 because we don't have the resources. It's difficult for me to get everything done and try and look for new 3D guys, new environment artists, etc. I always knew that this was going to happen at the end of the day. I always knew that people would drop out of the project. I always knew that it was going to be difficult to find people to help without paying people for it. But I am going to hopefully get to a point where we'll be able to afford to pay people for it, either by getting funding or Kickstarter or whatever we decide to do. So lastly, I'm going to quickly say there have been a few other problems with the upgrade. I've had a few things to fix in UFPS, which is one of the assets we use for the first-person controller. I've got a fairly old version of it. I haven't got the bugs that a lot of the more recent versions have been experiencing, the physics issues, etc. But there was a few problems with cursors and the screen overlays, things like that. So I've fixed those myself. I haven't used a upgraded UFPS because unfortunately I think it'd take me a little bit longer to do that. On top of that as well, we also have Pro Builder issues, which I am hopefully going to be able to speak to the lead dev at Pro Builder very soon and get him to look at the problems that I'm experiencing and figure out exactly what's going on. Until that stage, I'm not particularly in a point where I'm happy to upgrade to Unity 5, and unfortunately, it's in a transition period. I'm working on the AI and a few other gameplay mechanics, a few other little things such as being able to pick up data pads and look at them, read things, because there's going to be a fair amount of lore in the game. So that's one of the things I want to get right before we release a demo. But I also want to start actually putting the systems and the mechanics that I've put in place in, like I want to get them into the game and start making the game a game, if that makes sense. As it stands, you just run around and you're in a environment that's it may look okay, but it doesn't do much. There's a few things that move around and make noises, but it's very much still in a state of it's not a game yet. That's the problem, and I need to start focusing on that. So what I'm going to do is take as I said, take the fidelity down. I'm not going to concentrate on that too much now. I want to move on to the gameplay and things like getting. I'm going to be replacing all of this eventually, but as it stands, it's not a priority to do that because it works, it's in there, but I'm not going to worry about the lighting or anything like that for the time being. But it is still important, unfortunately, and all these things take time and we just don't have enough people. But anyway, I'm not going to ramble on much longer. There isn't much else to show in the game. As I said, I haven't had time to actually program much in the last few months. I have done a little bit. I've fixed doors, and we've now got, for example, we've got elevator doors that slide open back and forth. So it's not much, but it's at least a bit of improvement. But everything else I've been working on is visual, baking lights, and this is even in the previous version of Unity. I was figuring out how to bake individual parts of the level, getting the lighting looking nice, and playing with the materials and the albedo, etc., and trying to get it nice and high fidelity, but it's just taking up too much time, so I'm moving on. So thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I will be able to update with more devlogs with more positive spins on them in the coming months. If any of you are interested in the project and you've just happened to come across this video and you've lasted this long into it, check out our website. It's www.19stoneninjas.co.uk. That's got all the information about the project, all the information about us as a team as well, and all of our social links. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. I do spend a lot of time on Facebook on an evening to, you know, interact with the game dev community, and I'm more than willing to speak to anybody who wants to send me a message on there. And yeah, our obviously we upload our videos to youtube.com/19ninjasdev. Thank you very much. Bye bye.